Thanks to all of you that submitted your questions for this hashtag Elimination Chamber Q&A. The next Q&A next week, that topic is going to be hashtag Daniel Bryan. So if you want your questions answered, you go to Twitter, tweet your questions using hashtag Daniel Bryan to Off the Rope Show. Start doing that maybe next Monday after Raw, not after you watch this one. Next Monday after Raw, start tweeting your questions for the hashtag Daniel Bryan Q&A that'll come up next Wednesday. Let's get going with this one. Some good questions here. Kenny Kim has a couple of good ones. First, do you think the reason the Shield versus Wyatt family match isn't in the chamber is because it'll outshine the main event? I'm sure there are many potential possibilities. Without being inside, I don't fully know. That could be one. They could be afraid that that match might overshine the main event. They could have not even have thought of that possibility at all. They could sit there and feel that maybe the Elimination Chamber match itself should only be saved for World Championship matches or #1 contenders for World Championship matches, and they don't feel a three-man versus three-man faction feud necessitates an Elimination Chamber match. Could be any number of things. I don't know. That's a good question, actually. Do you think Brock will return at the Elimination Chamber and take Christian out to enter himself in to win? No, but he should. I mean, all that hot garbage they were talking about with Lesnar, being asserted as the #1 contender and him and Paul Heyman saying that stuff, if he didn't enter the Elimination Chamber, that would make all of what he said kind of stupid and pointless, wouldn't it? You should have Lesnar in there. I mean, if you want to throw everybody a real monkey wrench, have Lesnar go in there and win the damn title, and then give us Lesnar versus Batista at WrestleMania. I think in the grand scheme of things, more people would like that as opposed to Randy Orton versus Batista. At _RuckFools_. How would you have booked this chamber match this year? If I would have done anything differently, maybe I would have had all three members of the Shield in it. But they put Antonio Cesaro in it, so I'm fine with that. Or maybe I would have had like Roman Reigns actually take part in this, or maybe I would have put Bray Wyatt in this. Not a lot I necessarily would have done differently at this time. Or maybe if I would have done anything else differently, maybe I would have had the Wyatt family prevent John Cena from getting into this match, therefore having a reason for Bray Wyatt and John Cena to feud heading into WrestleMania. At My Snicka, do you believe that the chamber gimmick should be used just for the pay-per-view or others like Survivor Series? If anything, I think the concept of the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view needs to go away, especially since you only have one world title. If you're only going to have one chamber match, I don't see why it deserves its own pay-per-view. To me, this is not like the Royal Rumble, which that is a gimmick match, but that is also a gimmick match that takes at least an hour of a show. That's a third of the show tied up into one match. That's different. That is different. As far as the Elimination Chamber, it doesn't take an hour plus of the show. So as a result, I think it's stupid. Same with Money in the Bank. If you're only going to have one of those matches on the card, why have the pay-per-view included into other shows? If anything, I would make Elimination Chamber a staple of Survivor Series every year, because that seems to really fit the Survivor Series mold of what, you should have a World Championship match contested in at that pay-per-view. That's the way it looks to me, and I think Money in the Bank, as a result, consequently, should also be only at WrestleMania, because I think it creates a WrestleMania moment for somebody. And Mr. Nice Hangover 1. Imagine an Elimination Chamber match featuring Triple H, HBK, John Cena, Randy Orton, Sheamus, and Batista. Who's going over, brother? Vince McMahon. Hashtag Breakfast Club rules, bitches. Oh my God. I wouldn't even want to see the match. Who cares? What I would want to see are the behind-the-scenes negotiations and the politicking and the backstabbing between the 6 members of the Breakfast Club sitting in the creative meeting with Vince McMahon trying to book this match. Now, that's something you could charge me $50 for a pay-per-view, and I would watch every time. I wouldn't want to stream it. I'd want to pay. I'd be like, shut up and take my money. Also, do you think HBK winning at Survivor Series 2002 was the right booking choice? Yes. Absolutely. You had to cement and validate and legitimize HBK's return after being gone for 4+ years. It made for a great moment. It was a great close to a great show, that Survivor Series 2002 pay-per-view. At Ghost HPM, what is your favorite Elimination Chamber match ever? The first one, Survivor Series 2002. I don't even know if anything's close, frankly. That's got to be my favorite. At ALC729, out of all the Elimination Chamber matches, which one was the worst and why? Dismember, and we'll move on. At Motorhead94, who would you rather see as a surprise entrant in this year's Chamber match? Lesnar, Sting, or Punk? Lesnar. Lesnar. I know. Oh my god, I can't believe he didn't say CM Punk, let me get my flaming keyboard fingers on fire. Nah, Lesnar. Lesnar, seriously. That would be the one that I'd rather see personally. Let's see here. Who do we have next? We've got John 900 Blaze 94. Will a mid-card title chamber match or tag title chamber match ever happen? Probably not. I think it should, but I don't think it will. Who would you put in an all-time Legends Elimination Chamber match? All-time Legends Elimination Chamber match. I would probably go with Hogan, Flair, Rock, Austin, Sammartino, and probably Thez. Those would be the first 6 I could think of off the top of my head. You can do a lot of different configurations of awesome, but that would be my configuration of 6 of awesome. At Y2 Jackass, if you could have anyone other than ADR job to Batista, who would it be? Anyone other than ADR and Dolph Ziggler. With it being Black History Month, wouldn't it make sense to have a black wrestler in the chamber match? Ding! Correct! Exactly why the WWE's not going to do it. To be fair, they are giving us Darren Young versus Titus O'Neil on the pay-per-view, so I'm just saying, but could they have had maybe Kofi Kingston involved in that? Yeah. And, you know, we've also got Biggie Langston's an IC champion, so he's facing Jack Swagger at the pay-per-view, so some of the black wrestlers are getting a shot, but it would have been nice maybe if Kofi would have gotten a spot there. I mean, like I said, it wasn't that long ago that he beat Randall Keith Orton. I'm just saying. At OTRS motherfucker, should Jeff Jarrett return to the Elimination Chamber, force his way into the match, and become WWE World Heavyweight Champion? You should get scabies, rabies, and herpes. No. Nobody wants to see that. That's stupid. Because Jeff Jarrett is a Memphis mid-card piece of crap. At ARI_fan_. ARI. Should John Morrison have won Elimination Chamber 2011 and faced The Miz at WrestleMania 27? That's a lot of woulda, coulda, shouldas. You could have definitely made an argument for that. I thought maybe the momentum was right where you could have done Miz versus Morrison in a big-time feud and maybe drawn a little bit of money. Ultimately, the way it worked out, they kind of threw WrestleMania 27 under the bus in order to set up WrestleMania 28 and eventually 29 with Rock and Cena. So I'm sure the WWE wouldn't have it any other way. I would have maybe liked to have seen Miz and Morrison be a title match at Mania, but it probably would have had to have been the World Heavyweight Championship, and that would have been very early on the card, in my opinion. At Larrikin_, do you see Lesnar forcing his way a la Edge in 2009 this Sunday? I don't. I hope I'm wrong, but I do not. And what are the chances of Ric Flair being drunk on the pre-post show if there is one? I'm sure there is one. Hopefully Ric Flair's involved. I hope. And chances of being drunk, pretty high. More likely than not. And I hope it's true. Because drunk Ric Flair is awesome Ric Flair, period. At Benson Jutton 679, what did you think of the Goldberg Triple H feud in 2003? Oh, God. Not a fan of God's work during that time. Sorry. 2003 to me was not a banner year for God. Even though the WWE sure as hell would want to make you think that. Oh, Christ. At Aponte J. Smooth, what about a chamber match where the winner faces Undertaker or a mid-card chamber match? You give me a chamber match where the winner faces Undertaker at WrestleMania. I'm down. You know, because like I said, to me, at WrestleMania, the streak means more than the world title. Because belts are won and lost at WrestleMania every year. The one thing that never changes is Undertaker always wins at WrestleMania. Period. You have either the Royal Rumble winner or the Elimination Chamber match winner sit there and say, you know, I don't want a title shot. I want the Undertaker at WrestleMania. That's the most special thing of all that I could do at a WrestleMania. I'd be down for that all day. At Mr. Tuxedo, now that there's one title, should Chamber stay on its own pay-per-view or be a part of another pay-per-view? Like I said earlier in this Q&A, I think it should be a part of another pay-per-view Survivor Series. I think it would add some life to the Survivor Series pay-per-view, and that's where I think it belongs. At Beam of the Cashman, would you watch this chamber match? 3 Sin Cara, Psycho Sid, Kevin Nash, and Scott Steiner. You goddamn right I would. Oh my God, that would be awesome. 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 At Stephen Waz, What are the chances that the title changes hands on Sunday? I think none. I think part of the reason they had Orton lose to pretty much everybody was so that way he looks susceptible, and this way they could try to get some real heat on him when he sits there and slithers out Viper style with the belt on Sunday. So I don't really, at this point, envision there being any chance of Orton dropping that strap. I really, really don't. I really don't. I mean, like I said, for a lot of your sakes, I hope I'm wrong, but I don't think so at this point. At boom_Adam Bomb, who would you replace any of this year's participants with in the chamber match? Lesnar for Christian might be one. That's the one that probably stands out to me the most. At Luis Roulette, the shovel is ready for Cesaro this Sunday, or will WWE make him a star? You know, I almost wonder. I guess I kind of ask you guys this. Would you rather see John Cena versus Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania 30? Or would you rather see Antonio Cesaro versus John Cena at WrestleMania 30? Because I think now you have an opportunity to maybe sit there and have Cesaro eliminate Cena from the chamber match on Sunday and really launch into a program with them that could go into WrestleMania and then finish off maybe at Extreme Rules. I think it could be really good, and it would really help put Cesaro on the map. You could have him win the Mania match and get that Mania moment and the big signature victory, the Big Four pay-per-view against a marquee opponent like Cena, and Cena could still ultimately go over at Extreme Rules, and everybody wins. To me, that almost seems like the better thing to do at this point. I don't know if they'll have the shovel ready. He needs to eliminate somebody, and to me, he needs to eliminate Cena. Will Del Rio tap to the D, or will he win by pinfall via Peter spot? Hell yeah, guys, come up with that stuff. That was jolly good indeed. And to finish this one off, at goodboy_EOB asked, do you feel that the Shield versus Wyatt family match should main event at Elimination Chamber since it feels more special? No. No. You might be more interested in it. A lot of other people might be more interested in it. But no, when you look at some of the players involved in that WWE World Heavyweight Championship match, you're talking about Orton, you're talking about Cena, you're talking about Daniel Bryan, you're talking about Sheamus. No. That match belongs in the main event. It needs to main event. It should main event, period. If anything, I'd open up the card with the Shield versus the Wyatt family in an Elimination Chamber match. So that way you kick off the pay-per-view with the Chamber match and you close the show with the Chamber match. And that way if Shield and Wyatt, if that tears the house down, you've got enough time to recover so that way you can maybe build the crowd back up by the time you got to the main event. That's what I would do anyways. But anyways, so thanks to all of you guys that submitted your questions for this hashtag Elimination Chamber pay-per-view. These were some good questions. Next week, hashtag Daniel Bryan. Go to Twitter at Off the Rope Show. Tweet your hashtag Daniel Bryan questions to me. Best ones get answered next Wednesday on the hashtag Daniel Bryan Q&A. Bye-bye.